Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another video. It's yours truly, Paragon John, coming back at you with another one. You could have clicked any video online, but you chose to click this one. So guys, I want to talk about in this video the idea of fun. Okay, what is fun? People have a lot of different types of ideas of what they consider fun. What the mainstream culture, the mainstream kind of crowd, the normie crowd kind of considers fun, and how that's not always necessarily the case. Things like this. So I guess the first thing that I kind of want to talk about is this idea that mainstream culture has, that we all kind of feel, and that is the idea that the only thing that can be considered fun is drinking alcohol and partying. You know what I mean? Like that is the only thing that can be fun or considered what fun is. It's like the kind of the thing that most people do. It's, you know, it's kind of widely seen as like, if you're a fun person, well, that means that you drink and party every weekend, or you go to bars all the time, or you're some alcoholic. You like party and drink all the time. That's what a lot of people, especially like these normie kind of mainstream culture, societal conformist type people, consider fun. That's what they mean when they say fun. So it's like, if you're someone who doesn't really like to drink too much, you're not really somebody who likes to go to bars, you're not really someone who, you know, is like an alcoholic, or you don't really enjoy that sort of environment, you don't really like to party in big crowds of people and things like that. Like, if you're not that type of person, well, you're just considered by the mainstream not fun. Oh, they're not fun, they're boring, they don't drink, they don't party, they don't go to bars, so that must mean that they're boring. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the first thing I want to address in the video, is the idea that the only activity that is kind of considered fun by the mainstream culture and pop culture and society and you know, NPCs, normies, whatever, is drinking and partying and going to bars and clubs and big crowds of people, festivals, and like just drinking all the time and stuff like that. Doing things like that is the only thing that those types of people in the mainstream consider fun. Okay. But to me, that's never been the most fun thing. You know what I mean? I've done a little bit of that in my life when I was a little bit younger. And I never really enjoyed it all that much. I didn't really consider it all that fun. I mean, it may have been a little bit fun when I was a little younger to kind of experience those things, but it's not something that I like want to do every weekend or really crave to do like all the time. I cannot wait to drink and party. Like, I don't really care to do that very much. It's never been me. It's never been something I've like enjoyed extensively, like it seems like the average person in society does. Especially in the United States, especially here in the South region where I live. That's always been kind of the big thing, is drinking and partying, but I've never really enjoyed that. So if you're not one of those types of people that conforms to that sort of thing, well, you're just considered not fun or boring by people like that. But really, you're not. Everybody has a different idea of what they consider fun. And I'll say this too, a lot of the people who I'm talking about, who are these societal conformist people who the only thing that they consider fun is drinking and partying, they just subscribe to whatever society promotes, that's the only kind of fun that anyone can have. A lot of these types of people are actually the most boring people. I'm just gonna keep it real. Like, not everybody that drinks and parties is boring, okay? But for the most part, these societal conformist, follow the crowd people, just do whatever is popular people, who like drink and party on the weekends all the time and stuff like that. They're like trying to fit in and all this kind of stuff. A lot of times these are your most boring people, because it's like they don't have any interests of their own really. So they just kind of follow society, follow the crowd, what everybody else does all the time. That's, I guess, what I'm supposed to be doing too, sort of like mindset. A lot of times these people are trying to pretend and act like they're not boring and their life doesn't suck. So they're trying to like, go to bars every weekend and do all this fun stuff, quote unquote fun stuff every weekend to make it appear like their life is more interesting than it really is, or that they are a more interesting person than they really are. That's really what's going on, especially on social media when you see people like posting about partying and raving and festivals and all this kind of, and drinking like all the time and doing all these substances all the time and stuff like that. A lot of times these people are trying to cover up the fact that maybe their life is miserable. Maybe they're not really the person they want to be right now. Maybe they're not as fun or interesting or whatever as they think and as they would like to be. So they try to project an image and things like that. So I'm here to tell you that if you're someone who is labeled not fun, or you're labeled boring or whatever because you don't drink and party every weekend or some shit like that, you're not actually the boring people. Those are the actual boring people. Those are the not fun people. Those are oftentimes the people that need that kind of thing to feel like they're having fun. And I've never found that sort of stuff fun. Like, it might be a little bit enjoyable every once in a while, but it's really not that fun to me. A lot of the most interesting people and not boring people that I've met in life, and actually fun people, were people that had interests outside of that sort of thing. Maybe they were outdoorsy people. They like to go camping. They like to go hiking. They like to go backpacking. They like to go rock climbing, hiking, these types of things. There's lots of different ideas of fun. For some people, playing video games is fun. For some people, working on cars is fun. For some people, spending time outdoors is fun. For some people, fishing is fun. For some people, whatever the case may be, for a lot of people, they have their own idea of fun. That type of stuff is more fun to me than drinking and partying every weekend. You know what I mean? And, again, a lot of people have a lot of different types of ideas of what they consider fun. For one person, sitting at home, enjoying an evening, drinking wine and enjoying a great movie is fun. For another person, enjoying a good book is fun. For another person, binge watching a TV show is fun. For another person, going on walks is fun. For another person, traveling is fun. For some people, building their body in the gym is fun. For some people, building a personal business or a personal brand is fun. For some people, making YouTube videos is fun. For some people, listening to podcasts is fun. For some people, doing research on a particular topic is fun. For other people, playing music is fun. Some people like to work on themselves. Some people like investing in themselves. Some people like engaging in their hobbies, just some kind of meaningful activity. So, and to me, these other things that I mentioned are a lot more fun things typically than drinking and partying at bars constantly. For, a lot of people consider D&D sessions fun. I think that's fun. Hanging out with friends, at like some kind of, what do they call it? Hookah bar is more fun. For some people, having a small group of friends together and like watching a television series or playing a board game or something like that is like more fun because there's actual camaraderie involved with people that and like and actually care about and are close to, versus going to bars every weekend, drinking at big parties and gatherings filled with random strangers that you're very likely never going to see in your life ever again after that night is over. So the drinking and partying thing, to me, being the only kind of activity that's considered fun by the mainstream culture, doesn't make a ton of sense to me. It never really has, because it's like there are so many other fun things that you can do. You know what I mean? Rather than just drinking poison all the time and that sort of thing. Or, you think that because you're doing what the in crowd does, or you're a part of the in crowd, bro, you know what I'm saying? I'm one of the cool ones, dog, and whatever that even means. Like, I think you're very much so mistaken. I don't think that makes you cool. I don't think that makes you awesome. I don't think that makes you better than anyone else. I don't think that makes me want to be your friend anymore. Anything like that. It's like this idea that you have to be drinking and partying all the time, doing what the in crowd is doing, all this kind of stuff, to be considered like cool or fun or not boring or an interesting person or whatever. I think that is a bunch of bullshit. I think that's 100% bullshit. My point with the big crowds thing is that it's kind of meaningless compared to the other stuff. If you're just like having meaningless social validation seeking sessions with strangers in big groups that you don't even know and don't even know you, don't even care about you, you don't even care about them, what is the point of that? You're not doing anything. You're at that point you're just escaping reality. You're just escaping reality, constantly living in a fantasy, and it's like that's not meaningful. That's not necessarily a meaningful way to spend your time, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Versus the other stuff that I mentioned, hiking, camping, camaraderie driven things, getting in small groups with your friends, like hanging out at the house, whatever. Things like that are a lot more meaningful activities compared to the drinking and partying stuff. So, um, I guess this video sort of goes out to all the so-called boring or so-called not fun people out there that don't really follow the crowd, and just drink and party all the time. That's not really what you consider fun. You have your own idea of what fun is, and you're totally fine being labeled whatever by the crowd because you have your own idea of fun, and what you like to do is what you like to do, and you have more fun doing what you like to do, versus following whatever the crowd is doing. So, which oftentimes is destructive anyway. Drinking and partying all the time is ingesting different substances. I mean, these things are self-destructive things. Once you do them enough times. Once you do them enough times, they start to become that the whole drinking and partying thing starts to become really bad for your life in general. Bad, not only bad for your health, bad for the people around you, bad for your own psychological well-being. I mean, bad for your future, just everything. So, yeah, I guess I'm not sure what I'm gonna title this video right now as I'm thinking about it, but it's something along the lines of like everyone has a different idea of fun, or what the mainstream considers fun isn't always fun. Sometimes the most boring people are actually the most fun people, and vice versa. The people that look like they're having the most fun are oftentimes the most boring people in reality. Something like that. But yeah, that's kind of the video, guys. Everyone has a different idea of what they consider fun, and this idea that the only way you can have fun, or the only way to have fun, the only thing that a person can do to be considered fun is to drink and party at bars all the time, every weekend, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Um, so, yeah, I mean, that's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. You don't have to follow society. You don't have to follow what society promotes to be considered fun, or an exciting person, or an interesting person. None of that kind of stuff. Again, a lot of times the opposite is true, at least with people that I've known. A lot of the time, I'll just give you guys a personal anecdote here. Like, a lot of the people that I have grown up with in my area, like my local area that I come from, oftentimes a lot of the most boring, shallow, like brain dead, soulless people were these drinking and partying every weekend types. You know what I mean? Because it was like they had nothing else to do. They had nothing else going on. It's a quick, easy, cop-out way to like do something, or to escape reality, or whatever it is. And listen, I'm not saying that drinking and partying can never be fun, ever. It can, on the occasion, like a special occasion every once in a while, some kind of celebration. But even then, I don't think it's something that you should be doing all the time, or thinking that it's super cool and you're so dope and sick and awesome and cool and shit for drinking and partying every single weekend, or whatever it is that you think. I don't think that's true. I just don't think that's true. I'm not necessarily a person who's trying to hate on partying and drinking as a concept. I've drank myself a little bit. I've partied myself a little bit in the past. Some of it is fun sometimes, but so I'm not shitting on it. If you want to have some experiences, that's totally fine, whatever. You can have some fun times at things like that. But a lot of times, to me, that the drinking and partying stuff all the time, the Instagrammable stuff, was never really the most fun kind of stuff to me, because it always seemed superficial. It always seemed like, okay, this is like a meaningless activity. It's like, I'm never really going to see any of these people ever again, very likely. The conversations that we're having right now are very surface level. They're very meaningless. It's like, once I leave this establishment tonight, wherever I'm at, a house party, a rave, a festival, a bar, whatever it is, once I leave here tonight, I'm gonna forget that this even happened, very likely. Never gonna speak to any of the people I spoke to that night. They're never gonna remember me. I don't care about them. They don't care about me. It's like it never happened. It's like it's kind of a waste of time to me. So I've always kind of felt that way for the most part. And the older I'm getting, the more I'm starting to realize how much of a meaningless time that is for the most part. And odds are you guys probably feel the same way. So yeah, that's the video, guys. Oftentimes what society promotes as the fun thing to do is not really always the fun thing to do. A lot of times you have your own idea of fun and it's a lot better. So yeah, let me know you guys thoughts in the comments. Did I miss anything? Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? My name is Paragon John. I appreciate you guys stopping by. And if you like what I have to say, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I've got more content like this coming in the future. And feel free to browse the channel as well. I've got shorts on this channel. I've got a lot of different things. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your day.